The unexpected assignment. The holographic lecture hall of the Galactic Academy of Xenobiology hummed with anticipation as students from across the cosmos settled into their seats. Among them sat Zara Chen, a human exchange student from Earth, her emerald eyes scanning the room with a mix of excitement and trepidation. It was her first semester at the academy, and she still felt like a fish out of water, or perhaps more accurately, a mammal out of atmosphere. Professor Xylox, a towering insectoid being with glimmering compound eyes, stepped onto the central platform. His mandibles clicked softly as he addressed the class. Greetings, aspiring xenobiologists. Today marks the beginning of your most crucial assignment, one that will test not only your theoretical knowledge but your practical skills as well. Zara leaned forward, her curiosity piqued. She had come to the academy to push her boundaries, to learn about life beyond the confines of Earth. Little did she know just how far those boundaries were about to be pushed. Each of you, Professor Xylox continued, his voice resonating through the hall, will be tasked with studying, approaching, and ultimately subduing the apex predator of your home world, or in the case of those from less eventful planets, an assigned predator from a similar biome. A collective gasp rippled through the room, followed by a cacophony of worried chittering, whistling, and in some cases, alarmed color changes. Zara felt her heart skip a beat. Surely, she had misheard. "Professor," she called out, her voice cutting through the noise. "Could you please clarify? Are you saying we need to wrestle with our planet's most dangerous creature for homework?" Professor Xylox's antennae twitched in what Zora had come to recognize as amusement. "Precisely," catted Chen. "Is there a problem?" Zara's mind raced. Earth's apex predators. Images of great white sharks, Bengal tigers, and Kodiak bears flashed through her thoughts. "With all due respect, Professor, that seems incredibly dangerous, not to mention potentially unethical." A ripple of agreement moved through the class. A gelatinous student from Epsilon Eridani burbled nervously. "My world's apex predator is a continent-sized amoeba. How am I supposed to subdue that?" Professor Xylox raised two of his forearms, quieting the class. "Students, please. This assignment is a time-honored tradition at our academy. It is designed to push you beyond your comfort zones, to help you truly understand the intricate balance of ecosystems across the galaxy. Rest assured, all necessary safety precautions will be in place." He turned his compound eyes toward Zora. "Cadet Chen, you come from Earth, a death world, as classified by the Galactic Federation. Surely, a species that evolved in such a harsh environment is well equipped to handle this task." Zara felt the eyes of her classmates upon her. She had heard Earth referred to as a death world before, but the term still felt strange. To her, Earth was home. Beautiful, diverse, sometimes dangerous, but hardly the nightmarish landscape her alien peers seemed to imagine. "It's not a question of capability, Professor," Zara replied, choosing her words carefully. "Humans have a long history of respecting and preserving our wildlife, not antagonizing it unnecessarily. This assignment seems to go against those principles." Professor Xylox's mandibles clicked rapidly. A sound Zora had learned indicated deep thought. "An admirable sentiment, Cadet Chen. However, I assure you, this assignment is not about domination or unnecessary risk. It's about understanding, respect, and finding one's place within the grand tapestry of life. You will not be expected to harm these creatures, merely to demonstrate your ability to interact with them safely and knowledgeably." As the professor began detailing the assignment parameters, Zara's mind whirled. What creature would she be expected to face? How could she possibly prepare for such an encounter? And more importantly, how could she do so in a way that respected both the creature and her own ethical standards? Around her, her classmates were reacting with a mix of emotions. Some, like the silicon-based life forms from the volcanic world of Pyrox, seemed almost excited by the challenge. Others, particularly those from gentler worlds, looked on the verge of panic. Zara felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. She turned to see Zlork, her Andromedan roommate, his three eyes blinking in rapid succession, a sign of distress in his species. "Zara," Zlork whispered, his voice a melodious hum, "you're from a death world. Surely you must regularly wrestle with terrifying beasts, right? Any advice for those of us from more peaceful realms?" Zara couldn't help but smile at the misconception. "Not exactly, Zlork. Most humans go their whole lives without coming face to face with a dangerous predator. We've built our civilization to minimize those encounters." Zlork's central eye widened in surprise. "But then, how will you complete this assignment?" It was a good question. Zara took a deep breath, feeling a familiar spark of determination ignite within her. She had come to this academy to learn, to challenge herself, to represent humanity among the stars. This assignment, as daunting as it seemed, was an opportunity to do just that. "I'm not sure yet," she admitted to Zlork, "but I'll find a way. Humans are pretty good at adapting to unexpected situations. It's kind of our thing." As Professor Xylox concluded his briefing, Zara made a decision. She would approach this assignment not as a contest of strength or dominance, but as an opportunity for understanding. She would study her assigned creature thoroughly, respect its place in the ecosystem, and find a way to complete the task that honored both human ingenuity and the principles of conservation she held dear. The challenge ahead was daunting, but as Zara looked around at her alien classmates, each facing their own unique obstacles, she felt a surge of pride. She was here not just as a student, but as a representative of humanity, and she was determined to show the galaxy what humans were truly capable of when faced with the impossible. As the class dispersed, buzzing with a mix of excitement and apprehension, Zara stood tall. Whatever Earth's apex predator she would be assigned, she would face it with courage, intelligence, and respect. After all, that was the human way. Preparation and research. The next few weeks at the Galactic Academy of Xenobiology were a whirlwind of activity. The halls buzzed with nervous energy as students from across the cosmos prepared for their apex predator encounters. Zara Chen threw herself into her research with characteristic human determination, spending long hours in the Academy's vast holographic library. "Computer, display Earth's apex predators," Zara commanded, her voice echoing in the empty study pod. A shimmer of light coalesced into three-dimensional images of Earth's most formidable creatures: the great white shark, the Siberian tiger, the saltwater crocodile, and others. Zara's assignment had finally been revealed. She was to face a Nile crocodile in its natural habitat. The news had sent a shiver down her spine, but also ignited a fierce curiosity. Now she studied the holographic crocodile intently, watching as it snapped its powerful jaws and slid silently through simulated waters. "Fascinating creatures," came a voice from behind her. Zara turned to see Professor Xylox, his compound eyes reflecting the holographic images. "Did you know, Cadet Chen, that crocodiles have remained largely unchanged for millions of years, a true testament to evolutionary perfection?" Zara nodded, her respect for the ancient reptiles growing. "They're incredible survivors, Professor. But I'm still not sure how I'm supposed to subdue one without harming it, or being harmed myself." Professor Xylox's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "Perhaps, Cadet, the key lies not in force, but in understanding. What have you learned about crocodile behavior so far?" Zara's mind raced through the facts she'd accumulated. "Well, they're ambush predators, relying on stealth and surprise. They have poor stamina on land, but are incredibly fast in short bursts. Their jaws are powerful, but the muscles for opening them are relatively weak." As she spoke, an idea began to form. Maybe this assignment wasn't about overpowering the crocodile, but outsmarting it, working with its natural behaviors rather than against them. The professor's antennae twitched in what Zara had come to recognize as approval. "Excellent observations, Cadet. I look forward to seeing how you apply this knowledge in the field." As Professor Xylox left, Zara felt a renewed sense of purpose. She might not be able to wrestle a crocodile into submission, but perhaps she could find a way to complete the assignment that respected both the creature and her own principles. The following days were a blur of physical training and strategic planning. Zara spent hours in the Academy's holographic simulation chamber, practicing scenarios with virtual crocodiles. She studied their movements, their reactions, looking for patterns and weaknesses. One evening, as she was leaving the simulation chamber, she ran into Zlork. The Andromedan looked even more gelatinous than usual, a sign of stress in his species. "Zara," Zlork burbled, his 3 eyes blinking rapidly. "How can you be so calm? I've been assigned a Jovian moon jellyfish, and I'm terrified. It's bigger than my entire home city." Zara placed a reassuring hand on what she assumed was Zlork's shoulder. "Deep breaths, Zlork, or whatever the equivalent is for your species. Remember, this isn't about defeating these creatures. It's about understanding them." Zlork's central eye focused on her. "But you're from a death world. Surely you must have some secret technique for handling dangerous creatures." Zara couldn't help but chuckle. "The only secret is knowledge, Zlork. The more we understand these creatures, the less we have to fear them. Why don't we study together? I bet we could learn a lot from each other's approaches." And so, a study group was born. Zara found herself at the center of a diverse collection of alien students, each bringing unique perspectives to their shared challenge. A silicon-based student from Pyrox shared insights on handling creatures in extreme environments. A photosynthetic being from Chloris Prime offered thoughts on nonviolent interaction with other species. As they worked together, Zara was struck by the beautiful diversity of life in the galaxy. Each of her classmates, like the creatures they were studying, had evolved unique adaptations to their home environments. And yet, here they were, united in their quest for knowledge. One day, as their study session was winding down, a thought struck Zara. "You know," she said to the group, "humans have a saying, 'Knowledge is power.' But I think this assignment is teaching us something more. Knowledge is understanding. And understanding, that's the real key to coexistence." The alien students absorbed her words, their various appendages and sensory organs conveying thoughtful agreement. In that moment, Zara felt a profound sense of connection, not just to her classmates, but to the vast, intricate web of life that spanned the galaxy. As the day of her crocodile encounter drew near, Zara felt a mix of anxiety and excitement. She had studied, trained, and prepared as best she could. But would it be enough? The holographic simulations were one thing, but facing a real living crocodile in its natural habitat would be something else entirely. The night before her departure for Earth, Zara stood before the window of her dormitory, gazing out at the unfamiliar constellations. She thought of the crocodile she would soon face, a creature that had survived the rise and fall of dinosaurs, that had seen empires crumble and new ones rise, a living link to Earth's ancient past. "I'm not your enemy," she whispered to the stars, imagining the crocodile out there somewhere, unaware of the strange encounter that awaited it. "I'm just here to learn, to understand." As she turned from the window, Zara caught sight of her reflection. She saw determination in her eyes, but also something else, a spark of the same primal spirit that had driven humans to explore, to push boundaries, to venture into the unknown. It was that spirit that had brought her here, to this academy among the stars. And it was that spirit that would carry her through the challenge ahead. Tomorrow, she would return to Earth, not as a conqueror, but as a student of life in all its forms. Whatever happened, Zara was determined to make humanity proud, to show the galaxy the best of what her species could be. With a deep breath, she began to pack her gear. The greatest test of her academic career awaited, and Zara Chen was ready to face it head-on. Face to face with the beast. The African sun beat down mercilessly as Zara Chen stepped out of the hover transport onto the banks of the Nile River. The air was thick with humidity and the calls of unfamiliar birds. Despite the alien landscapes she'd encountered at the Galactic Academy, There was something about being back on Earth that made Zora's heart swell with a mix of pride and trepidation. Professor Xylox materialized beside her, his holographic form flickering slightly in the bright sunlight. "Welcome back to your homeworld, Cadet Chen. Are you prepared for your encounter?" Zora nodded, her eyes scanning the muddy riverbank. "As ready as I'll ever be, Professor. Where exactly is this happening?" The insectoid professor's antennae twitched, indicating a spot further down the river. "We've selected a location known for its crocodile population. Remember, your goal is not to harm the creature, but to demonstrate your understanding of its biology and behavior." As they made their way along the bank, Zara felt the weight of her specially designed suit. It was a marvel of galactic technology, lightweight yet stronger than any Earth-made material, designed to offer protection without impeding movement. She hoped she wouldn't need to test its limits. They reached a clearing where a small team of local wildlife experts and galactic observers had set up a monitoring station. Holographic screens displayed various readouts, water temperature, local fauna movements, and a real-time map of nearby crocodile activity. One of the wildlife experts, a tall woman with sun-weathered skin, approached Zora. "I'm Dr. Amina Okafor," she introduced herself. "I must say, when the Galactic Academy contacted us about this unusual project, we were skeptical, but they assured us you've been well prepared." Zara shook the doctor's hand, appreciating the familiar human gesture after months among aliens. "I've done my best to prepare, Dr. Okafor. I want you to know that I have no intention of harming any of the crocodiles. My goal is to interact safely and respectfully." Dr. Okafor's expression softened slightly. "That's good to hear. These creatures are a vital part of our ecosystem. We'll be monitoring everything closely. If at any point we feel you're in danger, we'll extract you immediately." With final checks complete, it was time. Zara took a deep breath, centering herself as she practiced in the Academy's meditation chambers. She stepped towards the water's edge, her eyes scanning the surface for any sign of movement. For several long minutes, nothing happened. The river flowed placidly, offering no hint of the prehistoric predators that lurked beneath. Zara began to wonder if perhaps the crocodiles had sensed her presence and decided to avoid the area altogether. Then, almost imperceptibly, she saw it, two bumps breaking the water's surface about 20 meters out. Eyes. Crocodile eyes. Zara's heart raced, but she forced herself to remain calm. She remembered her training, her research. Crocodiles were ambush predators. They relied on the element of surprise. Well, two could play at that game. Instead of backing away, Zara did something that made the onlookers gasp. She waded into the water. "Cadet Chen, what are you doing?" Professor Xylox's holographic form flickered with agitation. "Return to the shore immediately." But Zara ignored him. She kept her eyes fixed on the crocodile, which was now slowly gliding towards her. As the distance between them closed, Zora could make out more details: the rough, scaly hide, the powerful tail propelling it through the water, the sheer size of the creature. It was easily 5 meters long, possibly more. When the crocodile was about 5 meters away, it suddenly surged forward, jaws opening wide. This was the moment of truth. Everything Zora had learned, everything she had prepared for, came down to this. At the last possible second, Zora dove to the side. The crocodile, committed to its lunge, shot past her. In that split-second window of opportunity, Zora made her move. She grabbed the crocodile just behind its head, using its own momentum to guide it towards the shore. The next few minutes were a blur of thrashing water, snapping jaws, and Zora's grunts of exertion. She kept her grip firm, careful to stay out of range of the crocodile's powerful tail. Slowly, steadily, she maneuvered the massive reptile towards the land. As they neared the shore, Zora could hear the excited shouts of the onlookers, but she tuned them out, focusing entirely on the task at hand. One wrong move, one slip of concentration, and she'd be crocodile chow. Finally, with one last heave, Zora managed to get the crocodile onto the muddy bank. Now came the tricky part: She had to flip the creature onto its back, a position that would temporarily immobilize it. With a surge of adrenaline-fueled strength, Zara managed to roll the crocodile over. The massive reptile thrashed wildly, but Zara held firm, using her body weight to keep it pinned. For a moment, everything was still. Zara found herself staring directly into the crocodile's eye. In that instant, she felt a connection to the creature, a primal understanding between predator and prey, hunter and hunted. Incredible. Professor Xylox's voice broke the silence, his hologram flickering with excitement. Cadet Chen, you've done it. Zara, panting heavily, managed a weak smile. Great. Can someone please help me let this fellow go before he decides I'd make a nice snack? As the wildlife experts rushed in to help safely release the crocodile, Zara felt a mix of relief and was that disappointment. As the massive reptile slid back into the water, Zara realized that in those intense moments of struggle, she had felt more alive, more connected to the raw power of nature than ever before. Dr. Okafor approached, her eyes wide with amazement. That was unlike anything I've ever seen. You showed remarkable understanding of crocodile behavior, but how did you know to enter the water? Weren't you terrified? Zara laughed, still slightly giddy from the adrenaline. Honestly, I was absolutely terrified. But I realized something during all those simulations. Fear is a tool. It keeps you sharp, keeps you respectful. The moment you stop being afraid is the moment you make a mistake. As the team began to pack up their equipment, Zara gazed out at the river, watching the ripples where the crocodile had disappeared. She felt changed by the encounter, as if she had touched something ancient and powerful, a living link to Earth's primordial past. Professor Xylox's hologram approached her. Congratulations, Cadet Chen. You've not only completed your assignment but demonstrated a profound understanding of interspecies interaction. I believe you've learned something valuable today, haven't you? Zara nodded, her eyes still on the river. I have, Professor. I've learned that respect and understanding are more powerful than fear, and that sometimes, to truly understand another species, you have to be willing to meet them on their own terms, even if those terms are a little bitey. As the sun began to set over the Nile, casting the river in shades of gold and crimson, Zara felt a profound sense of connection, not just to the crocodile she had encountered, but to the vast, intricate web of life that spanned both Earth and the wider galaxy. She had come to this assignment seeking to prove herself, but she had gained something far more valuable, a deeper appreciation for the delicate balance of life and her place within it. With a mixture of exhaustion and exhilaration, Zara prepared for her return to the Galactic Academy. She couldn't wait to share her experience with her alien classmates, to hear their stories, and to continue exploring the wonders of life across the cosmos. The universe, she realized, was far more complex and beautiful than she had ever imagined, and she was only just beginning to understand her role in it. The battle of wits and will. Back at the Galactic Academy of Xenobiology, Zora's successful encounter with the Nile crocodile had caused quite a stir. As she walked through the holographic halls, she could feel the eyes and various other sensory organs of her alien classmates upon her. Some looked at her with newfound respect, others with curiosity, and a few with what she could only interpret as envy. Zara. Zlork's melodious voice rang out as the Andromedan oozed towards her at an excited pace. We saw the holo recording of your encounter. It was, what's that human expression? Ah yes, mind-blowing. Zora couldn't help but smile at her friend's enthusiasm. Thanks, Zlork. How did your assignment go? Did you manage to handle that Jovian moon jellyfish? Zlork's central eye blinked rapidly, a sign of embarrassment in his species. Well, let's just say it involved a lot more running away and a lot less subduing than I had hoped. But I did learn a great deal about bioluminescent communication. As they made their way to the lecture hall, Zara found herself bombarded with questions from her classmates. How had she known to enter the water? Wasn't she terrified? Did humans regularly wrestle with such dangerous creatures? All right, class, settle down. Professor Xylox's voice cut through the chatter as they entered the hall. Today, we'll be analyzing the various approaches you all took in your assignments. Cadet Chen, would you mind starting us off? Zara took a deep breath and stepped onto the central platform. A holographic display flickered to life, showing footage of her crocodile encounter. The key, Zara began, was understanding that this wasn't about domination or control. It was about respect and adaptation. Crocodiles are ambush predators, relying on the element of surprise. By entering the water, I disrupted its usual hunting pattern. She went on to explain her strategy, the techniques she had used, and the importance of remaining calm under pressure. As she spoke, she could see her classmates absorbing the information, relating it to their own experiences. Excellent analysis, Cadet Chen, Professor Xylox said as Zara concluded. Now let's hear from some of our other students. Cadets Lork, perhaps you'd like to share your experience with the Jovian moon jellyfish. As her classmates took turns recounting their adventures, Zora was struck by the incredible diversity of life in the galaxy. From gas giant dwellers to silicon-based life forms, each species presented unique challenges and required innovative approaches. Halfway through the presentations, an alarm suddenly blared through the academy. Professor Xylox's antennae twitched in alarm. Attention, students. It appears we have a Level 3 containment breach in the xenobiology labs. All non-essential personnel must evacuate immediately. Panic erupted in the lecture hall as students scrambled for the exits. Zara, however, felt a familiar surge of adrenaline. Professor, she called out over the chaos. What exactly has escaped? The insectoid professor's compound eyes flickered with concern. It's a Venusian acid cloud, a gaseous life form that feeds on electric currents and can corrode most solid matter. Highly dangerous, especially in an environment like this. Zara's mind raced. She had studied Venusian life forms as part of her coursework, but facing one in reality was a different matter entirely. Still, after her crocodile encounter, she felt oddly prepared for the unexpected. Professor, I have an idea, Zara said, her voice steady despite the alarm still blaring. But I'll need access to the Academy's atmospheric control systems and some volunteers. Professor Xylox hesitated for a moment before nodding. Very well, Cadet Chen. Given your recent performance, I'm inclined to trust your judgment. What do you need? Over the next few minutes, Zara outlined her plan. The Venusian acid cloud was attracted to electrical currents, but it was also vulnerable to rapid changes in air pressure and composition. If they could lure it into a contained area and then quickly alter the atmosphere, they might be able to neutralize it without harm. Zlork and a few other students volunteered to help, each bringing their unique abilities to the task. The silicon-based student from Pyrox, immune to the cloud's corrosive effects, would help herd it into position. Zlork, with his gelatinous body, could help seal off corridors to prevent its escape. As they put their plan into action, Zara found herself drawing on everything she had learned, not just about alien biology, but about teamwork, adaptability, and thinking on her feet. The Venusian acid cloud proved to be a formidable opponent, evading their initial attempts to correlate and nearly breaching the Academy's outer defenses. But Zara and her team persevered. Using a combination of electrical lures and carefully timed atmospheric changes, they gradually maneuvered the cloud into a containment chamber. With a final, coordinated effort, they activated the chamber's specialized filters, neutralizing the cloud's acidic properties and returning it to a dormant state. As the all-clear signal sounded throughout the Academy, Zara and her teammates slumped to the floor, exhausted but triumphant. Professor Xylox approached, his mandibles clicking in what Zara had come to recognize as approval. Remarkable work, all of you, the professor said. Cadet Chen, your quick thinking and leadership were instrumental in resolving this crisis. You've demonstrated not only an understanding of xenobiology, but also the ability to apply that knowledge in high-pressure situations. Zara looked around at her alien teammates, feeling a profound sense of connection. "Thank you, Professor, but it wasn't just me. We all worked together, using our different strengths and knowledge. That's what made the difference." As they made their way back to the lecture hall, Zara realized that this impromptu crisis had taught her more than any planned assignment could have. It had shown her the true value of diversity, of combining different perspectives and abilities to solve complex problems. The universe, she reflected, was full of unexpected challenges, but with understanding, adaptability, and cooperation, even the most daunting obstacles could be overcome. As a representative of humanity among the stars, Zara felt a renewed sense of purpose. She was here not just to learn, but to contribute, to show the galaxy the best of what humans could offer in the grand tapestry of cosmic life. Triumph and reflection. The days following the Venusian acid cloud incident were a whirlwind of activity at the Galactic Academy of Xenobiology. News of the human students' innovative solution had spread quickly, not just through the Academy, but across the wider galactic community. Zara found herself at the center of attention, fielding questions from curious classmates and even a few interstellar journalists. As Zara entered the lecture hall for the final assessment of their Apex Predator assignments, she could feel a shift in the atmosphere. The alien students no longer looked at her with mere curiosity or skepticism. There was a new respect in their eyes, or equivalent sensory organs, a recognition that perhaps there was more to these Deathworlders than they had initially thought. Professor Xylox stood at the center of the room, his compound eyes sweeping across the assembled students. "Before we begin our final evaluations," he began, his mandibles clicking softly, "I want to commend all of you on your performance, both in your individual assignments and in the recent crisis. You've shown remarkable growth and adaptability." The professor's gaze settled on Zara. "Cadet Chen, your encounters, both planned and unplanned, have been particularly noteworthy. Would you care to share your reflections with the class?" Zara took a deep breath and stepped forward. As she looked out at the diverse array of life forms before her, she felt a profound sense of unity despite their differences. "When I first came to this academy," Zara began, "I thought I was here to learn about alien life. And I have learned so much about the incredible diversity of life in our galaxy. But I also learned something even more important, about what it means to be human." She paused, gathering her thoughts. "Humans come from what you call the death world. And yes, Earth can be dangerous. But it's also beautiful, filled with an incredible variety of life. We've survived and thrived not because we're the strongest or the fastest, but because of our ability to adapt, to understand, and to cooperate." Zara's mind flashed back to her encounter with the crocodile, the rush of the Nile, the primal connection she had felt. "When I faced the crocodile, I realized that true strength doesn't come from domination. It comes from respect and understanding. By learning about the crocodile's behavior, by approaching it with caution and reverence, I was able to interact with it safely." She looked around at her classmates, seeing nods of agreement and thoughtful expressions. And during the acid cloud incident, it wasn't just human ingenuity that saved the day. It was our ability to work together, to combine our diverse strengths and perspectives. That, I believe, is humanity's greatest gift to the galaxy, our ability to unite, to find common ground even among the stars. Professor Xylox's antennae twitched in what Zara had come to recognize as approval. "Excellent insights, Cadet Chen. Your experiences highlight a crucial aspect of xenobiology, the importance of understanding not just individual species, but the complex web of relationships that connect all life." As the class continued, with each student presenting their reflections, Zara felt a growing sense of purpose. She had come to the academy as an ambassador of humanity, but she now realized that she was part of something much larger. They all were, each student, each species, playing a vital role in the grand tapestry of galactic life. After the class, as students filed out of the lecture hall, Zlork approached Zara, his gelatinous form quivering with excitement. "Zara, Your words were truly inspiring. I must admit, when I first learned I would be studying alongside a Deathworlder, I was apprehensive. But you've shown us a different side of humanity. Zara smiled at her friend. And you've shown me the incredible diversity and beauty of life in the galaxy, Zlork. I think we've all learned that our preconceptions often limit us. There's so much more to discover if we keep our minds open. As they walked together through the holographic corridors of the Academy, Zora's mind drifted to the future. Her experiences here, wrestling with crocodiles, battling acid clouds, forging friendships across species barriers, had changed her profoundly. She knew now that her path lay not just in studying alien life, but in bridging the gaps between species, in fostering understanding and cooperation across the cosmos. The Galactic Academy of Xenobiology had taught her far more than she could have imagined. It had shown her that in the vast, wild universe, full of wonders and dangers, the greatest strength lay not in teeth or claws or advanced technology, but in the ability to adapt, to understand, and to work together. As Zara looked out at the alien stars twinkling beyond the Academy's force fields, she felt a surge of excitement for the adventures yet to come. She was no longer just a student from Earth, but a citizen of the galaxy, ready to face whatever challenges the universe might throw her way. And she knew, with a certainty that ran bone deep, that humanity had a vital role to play in the cosmic community. They were the Deathworlders, yes, but also the dreamers, the explorers, the bridge builders. In a galaxy full of wonders and dangers, humans like Zara would be there, reaching out across the stars, forging connections, and showing that even in the face of the universe's greatest challenges, there was nothing more powerful than understanding, respect, and unity. As the Academy's lights dimmed, signaling the end of another day, Zara felt a profound sense of belonging. She was exactly where she needed to be, at the forefront of discovery, pushing the boundaries of knowledge, and helping to shape the future of interstellar relations. The homework assignment that had once seemed so daunting had become the first step on an incredible journey, one that promised to take her, and humanity, to the farthest reaches of the galaxy and beyond.